Georgia, Florida, this Saturday, 3:30 Eastern kickoff down there in Jacksonville. Once Upon a Saturday tour will be on hand. We'll be on the sideline for this one. I get the sense that there are some simplistic views forming on this game. Now, you know I don't take the Once Upon a Saturday tour to games that I expect to be a blowout. How do we get a close game here? Well, the simplistic view would lead you to believe that since Georgia barely beat Auburn with Brock Bowers, maybe, just maybe, they fall outright to Florida without Brock Bowers. That's the entire story around this game. What is Georgia like without big tight end there, number 19? What are they like without him? Who replaces Brock Bowers? Is it Oscar Delp? Is it Lawson Lucky? Hey, that's not where you look. I know those are the tight ends. That's not the answer to the question, who replaces Brock Bowers? The answer is team-wide. A linebacker could step up. A strong safety could step up. A slot receiver could step up. The point is, collectively, that team has to elevate its game. And there are some position units on that team that have needed to elevate their game, even if Brock Bowers is still there, to win a championship and to maximize this team's potential, which I think is championship caliber. So it isn't limited to the tight end room. That's the first thing. A simplistic view number 2 on this game is it's all about Graham Mertz. If Florida's going to win, it's all about Graham Mertz. Well, I'm not so sure that's true either. I think about Graham Mertz being the starting quarterback there. I know he's the most important player on Florida's team. What's the rest of the offense around him going to allow him to do? Everyone's all high off that win over South Carolina on the road, which has to be calibrated, and you need to understand any Florida win on the road lately has been a big deal. So you may look at it and say, big deal. You beat South Carolina by 2. It is a big deal because it was in October and it was on the road, so it is a big deal. But paper pop time. Graham Mertz, 27 quarterback hurries in that game, albeit in a win. 4 sacks. Jacob Rudner over at Swamp 24/7 had some good literature on that game today to put it in the proper perspective. Georgia's 94th in sack rate nationally, defensively. So they haven't gotten after the quarterback and gotten him to the ground as much as they may like, but they are going to be able to affect him all afternoon Saturday, or at least I think they'll be able to. Now, over on the Georgia side, I got to think Kirby and his offensive staff went and watched that Kentucky-Florida game and have to be thinking to themselves, if Kentucky ran it for 9.1 yards per carry, surely our ground game can come alive here. I mean, Kentucky sliced Florida 9 ways from Saturday. Georgia, 5.1 yards per carry this year. That's top 25. That's 24th nationally. They got to be thinking to themselves, well, if Bowers is out, no need to take massive risk here. We'll just run the ball to win. I think a blind man can see that approach coming. If it works, it works, and that's the end of the preview. If it doesn't work, or if they have moderate success on the ground, well, then what you have to have is you have to have Carson Beck make good decisions. I mean, where does that get them, by the way? Even if they run the ball fairly well, what does Georgia set itself up like on third down consistently Saturday afternoon? Florida's defense is 10th in the country on third down. Florida's defense is 114th in the country in sacks. So, it doesn't sound like those two stats really mesh together very well. What that says to me is, when I get to third down, if I'm Mike Bobo, I'm not hesitating to let Carson Beck make some decisions back there. I'm not hesitating to throw the ball. They haven't gotten home enough. Florida hasn't gotten home enough. There is no reason for me to think all of a sudden their defense and pass rush will find itself against me. I'm Georgia. I got a good offensive line. I've recruited very well, and I trust my guys. And my quarterback, although he's a first-year starter, is more than halfway through the season, coming out of the bye week now. This is the Florida game. We can't hide our quarterback. Yet again, it comes down to a quarterback having to make plays to win a game. Biggest area that has to flip here, if we're going to see an upset, biggest area that has to flip, Florida's offense is 109th in the country on third down conversion rate. Georgia is the best defense in America on third down. So that's what has happened. Is it what will happen? Let's take a look at what Vegas thinks. FanDuel currently, Georgia minus 14.5. FanDuel currently over under 47.5 on this game. But the Pate State model has Georgia minus 15. So we kind of agree. Pretty much think the number is spot on. I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to take Georgia to win. I think Florida will have a very inspired effort here. And I was at the Auburn game, and I saw Georgia struggle to win, much less pull away. And that's away from home. This is technically away from home. It's a 50-50 crowd split down there. I think Florida's going to put up enough of a fight where they're in this game. And so I'm going to take Florida to cover. I will take Georgia to win. Florida plus 14.5 over there at FanDuel is what I will take, though. And we will be on hand to witness all the festivities. We got a big production down there this week. We're taking Uncle Dennis. Emily Proud is joining the Once Upon a Saturday tour. Homestead of Thunkit, 2 apostrophes in Homestead of. And a crew and cast of thousands. And remember now, some of you hit me up Sunday night when we announced this destination. Hey, where's the T-shirt? Where's the T-shirt? Well, we put it in the store Monday morning. So PateStateMaterial.com, it has the shirt there now in all of its glory. And I'm telling you this twice because it's gone after Saturday. Also, upon popular demand, we have added hats and the first ever Pate State hoodie in the Pate State store too. And those things feel like a furnace when you put them on. I've never had heat retained like I've had when I put one of those things on. I'm not typically a hoodie guy, but number one, since it had my own branding on it, and number two, since it was a little chilly in my apartment the other day because the heat stopped working, poverty vibes, I put it on. Kept me warm. Can keep you warm as well. PateStateMaterial.com.